The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, Leo King, and we are here live for Deep Astrology, your weekly astrology forecast for the week of October 1st through the 7th of 2019. Thanks so much for being here. If you've never watched the show before, this is where I channel the astrology for the week of what's going on in the cosmos and bringing it deep and intense to you. And then, of course, we go into the charts, which are brought to you by Astrogold for iOS, Android, and, of course, your MacBook or iPad. But if you are on a PC, make sure that you check out Solar Fire. And of course, this is all brought to you by highvibe.tv, where my exclusive daily video horoscopes, daily tarot, weekly tarot, sun sign horoscopes, and much more, and so many awesome people are on the network. Supporting High Vibe is actually how we keep this show on the air for you on YouTube out there. So we really appreciate you joining High Vibe and being a subscriber to get all the exclusive content and all my exclusive horoscopes. And of course, this is also sponsored by the W Bros. This is an awesome collection of jewelry, not only necklaces, but rings. I'm wearing my Leo ring right now, and I'm so happy to be part of this journey about really bringing jewelry and zodiac aspects all together. It really is amazing because you can get it in sterling silver, 18 karat gold, 18 karat rose gold, and you know, it's like a lucky charm. Like, it's like truly like you get to wear the energy, and all of it is about helping people because 10% of the proceeds go to helping fight anxiety and depression. And so this is truly something I'm so happy to be part of. Go to the wbros.com, check it out, and make sure that you type in LK10 for your discount. Check it out now, the wbros.com. Well, we are at a big turning point. And I'm sure you all have been feeling it, but you know what's so funny is turning points sometimes subtly come in and then bam, they happen. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, that just kind of slipped in my life. Pluto is a little slithery, isn't it? Pluto comes direct, literally at 11 p.m.-ish Pacific tomorrow on the 2nd, on Wednesday. So pretty much October 3rd for all of us out there. And you know what? This is a major, major turning point because with Pluto stationary direct, we are subtly, because you got to remember, Pluto's really slow. But with it moving direct now in Capricorn, it knows, uh-oh, Saturn's direct. We're both in Capricorn. We got the South Node here. We are moving into the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And this is going to happen, of course, on January 12th of 2020. And so this building point from pretty much now, if you're watching this, until this point, it's on like Donkey Kong. Because the last time that Pluto and Saturn met was in 1983. Now they happened in Libra, and you have to remember, Pluto doesn't like Libra that much because it's a Venus-ruled energy, and Pluto is the higher octave of Mars, right? So Pluto doesn't like Libra. Saturn likes Libra. It's exalted there, but now Saturn and Pluto are meeting in Capricorn. They both like Capricorn, and they both are executionists, right? Like Saturn's all about, like, these are the rules. This is how I want it set. This is the mission, and let's just do it. It's a cardinal sign. And Pluto's an executioner of, like, I am going to change it whether you like it or not. And when it's got the support of Saturn in its home sign, we're talking about world changes. We're talking about, in your life, major turning points. And this is, you know, a predetermined part of destiny for all of us. I mean, if you really think about with Neptune and Pisces, right? With Pluto and Capricorn and their positions, I mean, where Neptune is going in 2020 is where the Salem witch trials was, where the buildup of the Civil War started to get intense as far as, the energy about it. And then you mix in Uranus and Taurus, which is literally where, the beginnings of this whole World War II and all this crazy energy of the world changing was. And we're all going through it at the same time. And you got Pluto, which I didn't even mention, and Capricorn. Now that it's direct this week, it's on its way towards past where it was in 1773 when the Boston Tea Party energy was. We're moving past that part into the revolution energies. So it's subtle because of Pluto's far out energy, but it is not subtle because it's sliding into your life now, that you must change course and you must make changes to go onto your true destiny. Now, we are in Libra, and so Libra is about this balance and harmony, but more importantly, it's truly about justice. It's truly about making sure that your life is mirroring the correct image, whether that's a person, whether that's parts of your own consciousness and yourself that are to you, to make sure that you're in the right balance of life. And it's interesting to see that Mars leaves Virgo this week and enters into Libra. Now, Mars doesn't like Libra too much because it's at detriment here because, Mars would rather go to war and show up with a knife and put it down your throat. But Mars in Libra is the diplomat that wants to come in with the pen. You know what I mean? And be like, let's start talking biz and let's make sure we make a deal here. I don't want to have to bring out all the cattle and all that stuff. But you gotta remember, Libra is a masculine sign. I know that it can somewhat feel feminine, but it's not. It's masculine because it's a cardinal, direct, let's go into making sure that we can make a connection happen. It takes that kind of masculine energy of, yes, I'm going to connect with this, or no, I'm not, right? And I think that this is very important because with Pluto coming on direct in Capricorn and ready for this major, major, major conjunction point, because now it's official, it's going down. They're moving together. Saturn and Pluto are on their way forward to go meet. It's going to happen. There's no more talking about it like as astrologers, we've been talking about this thing for a long time. Once we got out of the Pluto-Uranus square, that was through the middle part of this whole decade, it was like, all right, now we're going to deal with this whole Saturn-Pluto thing. And so I think that it's super important this week to know that this is a major, major week of a turning point. Because Mars just coming into Libra is really going to set a whole new tone. Are you identifying with the right energies and the right people as part of your destiny? Venus is finishing in Libra this week, and it doesn't come into Scorpio till next week. So we got Venus in Libra, and it's not making any really weird, major aspects. So it's a good time for you to really look at relationships and really look and see what's really going on. What is the energies that I connect with that's the best for me and my destiny? On top of that, of course, we got Mercury, which is going to leave Libra, which has been a very interesting position for it because, it's really analytical. It's weighing a lot out. It's looking at this. It's a lot of contrast. But when it comes into Scorpio, this is going to be an intense Mercury in Scorpio because it's going to go retrograde at the end of the month, actually on Halloween Eve. And it's going to be literally in Scorpio for over 2 months. We're going to have Mercury in Scorpio for a while, folks. The detective looking deep and trying to figure things out. Mercury likes Scorpio because it's about, okay, I want to get to the truth. I want to understand it. I want to know where the connection is. I want to figure it out. And so we don't have it in shadow until October 11th. So this week, get all your ducks in a row. Start figuring out your stuff. Start making those conversations happen. Close everything that you can. Because when that Mercury comes shadow next week, we're going to be dealing with Mercury shadow for a while in Scorpio. And so Scorpio deals with, of course, commitments and connection and whether the deal goes through and, looking at other people's energies. And there's a lot of this Libra, Scorpio, Capricorn. But in between all this, we got Jupiter. And this Jupiter energy is finally starting to come faster. Now, it's not out of shadow yet. But we have to remember that as the sun is coming into these deeper spots of Libra, it's excited to meet with Jupiter, but it's in between some really gnarly stuff. And so by the end of this week, not only are we going to have the sun square the nodes, So remember that the north and the south node, right, they're in Cancer Capricorn. So the sun's going to come to 13 degrees and meet up in this square. But that's going to be the exact moment when the moon comes into Capricorn this weekend and creates this first quarter square on the nodes. And so much is going to be about whether or not your life is in true harmony with your destiny or not. And if it's not, Pluto will let you know. And you will feel out of balance, and Mercury in Scorpio will let you know, because it's going to oppose Uranus, and it's going to be shocking. Like, hey, Uranus is going to tell Mercury, like, yo, look at how we need to find a new way. We need to find a way to connect all these great things. What's that truth? We're about to figure a lot of that out. And you know, dealing with the truth and your destiny and whether or not you're in the right connections is tough. Because now with Pluto coming direct, the world's going to change. And of course, Pluto is the slowest planet, so it does take a while for us to see the forward movement, because it literally is like, you don't even really notice it. If you were to, first of all, you can't even see Pluto, right? So you'd have to get a big old telescope. You need to angle that thing, and it'd be actually pretty easy to angle it because at least it's close with Saturn. So just go find Saturn in the sky at night, and boom, you know, Pluto is just right there. But you know, even if you were to watch it on a telescope from Earth's view, it's not like you can really tell if it's moving forward or back. It's just so far away, and the rate we're moving, it's hard. There's that subtleness, that's what I'm talking about, but it's not subtle. And I keep getting it's like a serpent, this Pluto. This Plutonic energy is so, you know, scorpionic. And we're going to start to feel more scorpionic energy, which is positive in the sense that it actually gets to the root of things. But it can be kind of harsh of the truth that comes out, especially with this Mercury in opposition to Uranus. This is going to bring out some wild stuff, unpredictable stuff. And, you know, Mercury as well is going to make a quincunx over to Chiron in Aries. And with Mars coming into Libra, while that happens, both, you know, Scorpio and Aries are the rulers of Mars. And so there is this aspect of like what we want, you know, might not be exactly what is in alignment with us if we're not willing to put it all on the table and weigh things out and look at the truth and look at if this fits in with destiny or not. Does this fit in with the best part of my life? Does this advance my life? Does this really connect with who I am? And I only say that because this is so much about this Chiron in Aries retrograde. You know, this weird element of like, how do I really figure out how to bring and formulate my truth of myself out? Well, I got to look at the truth of my edge, my vulnerabilities. And that scorpionic energy is of that raw nature. And so that raw nature, if it cannot, especially since Pluto is in Capricorn, there is this part of destiny being part of your raw nature. And I think that, you know, the other part is Pluto deals with fears, right? Because Pluto's kind of scary because when it comes in, and especially, you know, it kind of gets that fear tactic from astrologers out there of like, Pluto's going to be on this in your life. And you're like, ah! If you're afraid of ghosts, you probably don't like Pluto or you have some weird Pluto aspects. But it is what that transpersonal energy, right? It's like Pluto wants to take us to a place that's beyond. And we are going beyond places we've never known of. And, you know, we've been having some cool combos here at High Vibe in the studios, and this combo came up about the witch trials. And it was interesting because, you know, Neptune's going to be at 19 degrees next year in 2020, which, by the way, 2020 is like pretty much here. But Neptune wasn't even found in 1692 when the witch trials were. And so I was mentioning tonight, I was like, you know, it's kind of interesting because like when you look at that time, it's like everything always has some sort of intervention. But you know what's interesting? It's like intervention that you wouldn't know. Like Pluto wasn't found until 1930. And if you look at the aspects during the witch trials of Pluto, Cancer and Leo, like stuff like that. And then 248 years later, then the intervention of Pluto Leo is like World War II. Like you start to get to some really weird intervention, and unfortunately that was a crazy intervention of the bombs in Japan. That kind of stopped everything. But we're not in that. But all I want to try and tell people is that Now that we know where all these outer planets are, and we're aware of these extreme things in the world that are going on, and finally there are astrologers out there that are telling people why, this is the first time we've ever experienced this. Like, whoa, the reason why this, the reason why that. And you got to remember that actually, with Pluto now about to approach Saturn in their conjunction in Capricorn, the last time they met in Capricorn was in the 1500s, 16, 17, 18, that time frame right there. You have to remember that, one, that was a time that really did change the world. The Renaissance, and the times that went after that, we changed, the church. The Catholic Church was the controller of everything, and then, not so much anymore. The church broke apart as far as like kings taking over their own power back and creating their own churches. And I think that you have to realize that, like, with this Pluto-Saturn, this is just not something that normally happens in life, especially that we're so aware and we have this awareness that it's almost like, what is the intervention going to come in? Is it Chiron and Aries? Because we've never all experienced Chiron and Aries consciously. That Chiron might be the most, significant aspect in all astrology right now, beyond Saturn, Pluto, beyond all this stuff, because Chiron was found in 1977. And so the fact that Chiron's in Aries right now, remember it came into Aries in 69, right? It's so ironic because at that time, it was all about going to space. And, it was like, there were so many aspects of it. It was also Watergate stuff came out, Chiron, Aries, and it's like we're reliving this really weird time going into the 70s. So is the 2020s kind of like a reliving of the 70s in a weird way? Where we all kind of didn't know what I wasn't born yet, but I was born in 84, but it's like where we all kind of didn't know what was like going on, and Chiron and Aries has that whole, I don't know how to identify all this stuff. So part of this is about learning not to be stuck in the fear of what's happening, which is change. And it's changed to the way that you have understood the way the world works, that it's not going to go that way anymore. And this identification of Chiron, like totally deformed, that it reminds me of taking LSD. Because I always say, whenever I used to take LSD, it was like I would look at the sky and palm trees or whatever, and I didn't know what to call it. It was like I went into a state where I deleted all of the identification of what society had told me, the television had told me, my school, my everything had told me, and I redefined it from what my soul was. And that's, to me, what Chiron and Aries is deleting the files of your ego's identification of how it should look. Because right now, the world is going to change so much, and that's where people are freaking out. If you just watch the news right now, everybody's freaking out on everything. We can touch on a million subjects, but you know what? It'll trigger every person watching this show. And this is where we got to show up with love and harmony and peace, and we need to be like, number one, yes, it's Libra, so justice must be served, right? But it's weird with this South Node in Capricorn. It almost feels like it's got to be this, hardcore justice and just slam it in someone's face. And it must be done now. And it's like this North Node in Cancer is like, there's a part for everything. There's home for everything. It makes me think of like, being in these studios, like when we put the trash out, all the creepy crawlers come. You know what I mean? Like it's a studio, it's a warehouse. Like we've dealt with lots of weird stuff. I've seen crazy spiders and everything, but there's a home for these spiders too. And so I think that we have to approach things with love instead of, especially with Jupiter, which is in, of course, Sagittarius in its home sign. It doesn't know what to do. It's kind of like, I'm stuck because I want to go on this great expedition. I have all these beliefs. I just was blinded by Neptune for the whole transit pretty much. So I took on a lot of subconscious media, what everybody in the world and through social media and stuff is trying to tell me and how to believe. And so there's a disillusionment, or there's, the best way I can describe it is that this is a time in your life where you cannot be basing your life off of, what is just being told to you through some sort of story or message that you haven't done all the facts. You got to do it like yourself, or you got to experience it yourself. And then if you don't like what it is, you can't come from hate right now, because it's gonna get crazy out there. And to take this back to the personal, because relationships are such a big point of this month, and especially this week, that you can't get personal about where people decide and where they go on journeys right now, and who they choose and who they don't choose, and yada, 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 and start turning that into hate. I mean, we see it in politics with sides taking sides. You can't be on this whole side taking sides if these people go that way and you're going that way, because it's a reflection on, well, you made a choice and you're going this way too. And Chiron plays a huge victim in Aries that wants to just go get the knife out and just like go to war. Well, this Libra energy won't have it. This Mercury and Scorpio in quincunx is like, what are you doing? Like, that's just the truth. Deal with it. Mercury and Scorpio is blunt, I love it. So it's like, this is the fucking truth. Like, deal with it. And so what's unfortunate about this energy, and what I'm trying to help people with, is that we're all dealt cards in life. And you know what? A lot of the cards that were most of this decade was Chiron and Pisces. We were dealt with cards. We never experienced that consciously, which was cards of feeling like God just gave you a bag full of shit and lit it on fire. Now, that's not in every part of your life, but in certain areas, and especially if you want to get deep into astrology, depending on what sign you are, what house does Pisces rule, and so forth like that, we can go deep into that. But you have to realize that, like, we all got dealt a shitty hand somewhere. So people start projecting now with these beliefs that all this Neptune energy has been squaring Jupiter, and we finished that. You start to see this is where the Civil War started, was because after Jupiter squared Neptune for the last time, now everybody's ideologies and belief systems just started running rampant. And I know it's hard, because it feels like, there's just some beliefs out there that we just, can't live with on the planet. And it's like, how can we find a way for everybody to just kind of stay in their corner and do what they are? When does humanity kind of jump in to stop things? Maybe we all need to kind of maybe sit back for a second and wonder if maybe we need to put a little bit more faith in the divine here, opposed to us feeling like we have the control to change it all. Because if you notice in every story in the media that's trying to get changed, and they're trying to change this, or they're trying to oust that person, or they're trying to do that, you're just running on the hamster wheel of like this story that never has changed. Nothing ever happens. It's like the ultimate tease. It's like going to a strip club and not taking any clothes off. You know what I mean? You just keep, here's, you know what I mean? Like, how much more do you want? Like, no. So I think that the best way to take this week is like, one, you have to now know deep in yourself what your raw edge truth is and who you are. And anything that now is in your life that is not in alignment with that, it's time to use that Mars and Libra and go, you know what? That's not in the vibe of what I want. And we got to look far in the future with Jupiter and Sag, and with Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn. We have to. And this week is not going to be easy if you don't know how to deal with people making major choices. Because with this moon in Capricorn, that's going to be for the first time since, I guess you could say, since the early spring, when Saturn and Pluto were really close to each other, with the south node by Pluto, that the moon's going to come over these with this square to the sun, though. Whew. In Libra, where it's at its fall, and the moon's detriment. This is not an easy first quarter square of the moon. And it's not easy at the same time with Mars and Libra, which is starting to oppose Chiron. There becomes major choices, there becomes major harsh decisions. And with Venus and Libra trying to feel good and feel positive, which it definitely can, it's about being accepting, about like, well, this is my raw truth and this is what their raw truth is. And if it connects, it connects. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Does it glue together or does it not glue together? And what's hard is that Uranus, which is in opposition to Mercury by this weekend, and that starts to bring up a lot of crazy changes in the environment to make your life better. But no matter how much Uranus wants to try and bring some Taurus in and make you feel better and make you feel like there's this exciting new thing, which it will if you're in that raw truth, it will at the same time just chuck out and show you what is not. So we're going to be watching a lot of things going into the trash this week. This isn't supposed to be working anymore. That's not supposed to be working anymore. And anybody that's got hands that are like claws on people, on situations, on anything that you still can't let go of, oh my gosh, this is where you start to see the ah! And this is also where you start to see if you're really living a projection of a false identity, because there is so much projection energy around. And that's why I'm saying that right now, everything that you get attached to outside of yourself, that's other people's stories, are just like you joining in on some weird quest that's not even yours. Feeling like it's yours. That's the whole trickery of the South Node with Saturn and Pluto. It's trickery. Especially if you look at January 10th, 11th, and 12th of 2020, people are going to buy into the biggest trickery that there's ever been in life to make them feel like they're on the right bandwagon, to change the world, to be revolutionary, to get this energy out, which is actually opening the door to the biggest prison of their lives. Because what is sovereign and independent and unique is you. And your destiny of what you feel that you need to do, that's not attached to some bandwagon, that's not having to be sold to you through the media or having to be sold to you, through, well, what are other people doing out there? Well, they're into this, or they shared this crazy video, or this belief system or that belief system. But this is mastery. The mastery to know your own destiny, the mastery to choose the right energy, the right people, and the right determination of what is going to be better for the world from your lens, from a lens that you can partner with others' lens, and not be defining that through this illusion, because it's an illusion of this fear, wherever this fear comes out. We're all going to die if this doesn't happen. The country's going to fall if that person's in this power. What do you think will happen if that person does fall out of power? Then the next person that comes out, we're going to die if that person's in power. And then the other side will do the same thing. When they swap it, now we're all going to die because that person's in power. It won't end. It's the same cycle. And it keeps feeding the beast of fear. And I'm not telling you whether I think it's all right or wrong, because you know what? At the end of the day right now, what's right and wrong is what's in my world. It's actually physically in my life now. The temperature in this room. The things that I am feeling in my emotions in my life. Not what's out there, projecting out there. Because with Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn, it's the wrangling up of people into sheep. It's the greatest sheep herder we've ever seen. And I'm just trying to prepare people. Because whether you follow tropical astrology or Vedic, Pluto and Saturn will be entering into a conjunction spot at the very last degree in sidereal, at the 29th degree of Sag, the galactic center. So this is not no normal Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And this is where this projection of also where we come from, a falsehood is going to come in. And I'm preparing you for the future. And it's pretty easy to see right now who's trying to project any kind of fear, project anything that makes you feel like you have to be part of this story in order to, be on the bandwagon. And it's running rampant everywhere, in all spiritual communities, everywhere. But this is where mastery comes in, where it's like, what can I do to make the world feel better? Where can I find a way to see things from all angles? Because this is where Uranus and Taurus is trying to take us to the true higher realm of quality, of feeling better. And North Node in Cancer. And this is where the ancients pointed, where North Node is, all at the star Sirius. All their pyramids were all pointed up to this spot. About where we're going, not where we came, where we're going. And it's not on the media where we're going. Where we're going is where you and I, where you and your mother, where you and your best friend, where you and your tribe are defining where we're going. And it's not based off what you see in the media on either side or at any of this stuff, because that is the ultimate trap of Mercury. As Mercury's going to go through Scorpio, where it can be very manipulative and retrograde. And then Mercury, when it meets with Saturn and Pluto and the Sun on the exact day, on January 11th and 12th, is the ultimate of all time deception we will ever see in our lives. Ever. And if I were to use a biblical aspect of whether you want to call that the Antichrist showing up, the Antichrist message will always be the most false, fake, looking like perfect, not real, and looking like that they have it all figured out and that this is the way, we've got the way. Because by accepting it, guess what it will do? Accepting that you have the power and you know the way, or that you have the info or you have the control. And by doing that and by saying, please, this is scum on the planet, or this is horrible, get it out of here. We need to fix this. It takes things like what we're talking about right now, and what scientists don't believe in this. Because right now, let's use climate change for an example. If you don't believe in climate change, guess what? Then you're a retard and you're just a stupid person. And I'm not saying my opinion on it. I'm using an example. But what happens when that turns to astrology? Because once you demonize people with their own opinions and their own views, well, what's going to happen with astrology then? When scientists don't believe that they can prove that the planets influence your life. So we need to get rid of those people. So when you start getting all activism-like right now in Capricorn, like this is your destiny and your mission and your mission is not to take down some power or some ideology, but to focus on this Cancerian of how to build tribe and emotion and home. And the spiritual community doesn't have a home. It does not. It's through festivals. And so that's the whole reason why we built High Vibe. We saw this years ago. We all held hands in a big fire circle and said we're going to build the home. And this is not to promote High Vibe, but I'm just saying that there are homes to be built. There are homes for you to go build. Go focus on nurturing. Go focus on how you can nurture the planet again. Go focus on you can nurture your life through people, through beauty, through harmony. And these are tough choices we have to make. And you know what? The toughest choice you have to make is to not buy into the bandwagon. The toughest choice you have to make is to stop being like, I could go farther and better if I go this way, and start getting all tyrant on yourself and start getting judgmental on other people for how they're just living to get by. Because this is a gnarly time to live. It's not a simple time. Just to show up and be alive takes everything right now. And so if you really think that you can just go climb even higher, well, you barely have enough just to even get to the trail. That's because there's an emptiness around. And that emptiness is buying into the bandwagon of demonization. That bandwagon of, well, this person does this. I don't like that. I need to get rid of them on the world. I don't like that person, or I don't like this, because this is what comes in with Libra and Capricorn. The judgment, the this is not in alignment, this is not good. And it just becomes so extreme that there is nothing left of comfort. And children all over this world are just going to be watching people squabble over shit. And so this is a time where you have to find comfort, love, harmony, peace. Because this wall that's coming and the unconscious that aren't aware are about to bring a tidal wave of very harsh, very, very, very harsh energy onto the planet. And we all as light workers have to be there with that comfort and not demonize them and not demonize people who aren't aware and not demonize anybody, because we're not saviors. We work for the Almighty. We work for the highest good. We are not the saviors. We are the ones holding love and holding the light. And that's where your big choice is. Stop getting in relationships where you're having to be pulled off track from your ultimate light work. And it's not easy being a light worker right now. Just to show up is hard. Because there's distractions everywhere. And the main distraction is this fear-mongering energy that's all over the media, the news, and everything. And this is Neptune playing with Saturn and Pluto. This is Neptune, getting ready back for its semi-square again to Uranus. Like, I've been talking about this for so long that I don't even know what to tell you anymore. That this week there's, especially since October 11th, that's when Mercury comes into shadow. And we've got Mars going to start opposing Chiron as it's in Libra. And we have the Sun that's going to square Saturn on Monday. And that's where I'm leaving. I built this all to this point. That with Saturn right there, and the Sun in its fall position square Saturn, it's not easy at all. Because it's tough to find beauty in a world unless you know how to define purpose through care, through love, through accepting all things. And I know that's the hardest thing to hear. The times of revolution are coming. They're just not at this moment. Because we're not ready for it. We're not emotionally ready. We don't have our partners and our alliances done, and we don't have a base. So, if you really believe that you can go on this big conquest right now and take over and change the world in the craziest way without right now focusing on who are your alliances, making sure that they're aligned with your destiny, but knowing that these boats are going, but they're slowly going. And this is where you start finding who's sitting next to you and where is your tribe within it, and how are we going to bring this and hold this light, and how are we going to hold this emotional love, and how are we going to hold this ancient energy that's being pointed at, and make sure that people know to not get lost in these crazy illusions of fear that are not real, I'm sorry to say. And that one's going to be tough for people to bite and chew on that one. Because it's the deepest illusion. And there's no coincidence. There's never a coincidence that we're coming into a new decade, and you know what? I don't hear anybody talking about that one. We truly are in a timeless state. We truly are with Pluto and Saturn, which is manipulating time. It's manipulating time in your life. It's manipulating time and how you have to be here and you have to do this at this time. When, even in the Mayan calendar, we just switched to a new 13-year cycle on July 26th. I think it's the white wizard. It's timelessness. Everything, it goes to plan exactly the way it's supposed to without time right now. But when you're focused on time and focused on when you should go to bed and when you should wake up, this is something that this Saturn-Pluto is the biggest disguise ever. It just leaves you empty. You get there and then, ugh. But Cancer's like, well, when I feel good, when I feel right and I do my work, I can hold the light. That's North Node in Cancer. And with the sun squaring that and with the sun squaring Saturn, don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on others. This is going to be a moment where we do have to make choices of what, is in alignment or is not in alignment with people. This is going to be intense. It's not fucking easy. But if you can find that Tootsie Roll center of emotion in yourself and that in another, and you can connect on that level, then this is moving to the real level of life that we need to move towards. No matter what those person's views are, no matter what they're going through, this is about us all coming together in harmony. And that we can work problems out when we come from the center of love and compassion and care, and not from a tyrant that wants to control things in ourselves. Because now that Pluto's online, it will be the Tyrannosaurus Rex that wants to not only take over Jurassic Park, but the world. And that's inside you, and you'll see it outside in the world, and in others. Everybody has it in them. I guess, if I were to think about it, that is kind of like building an alien baby. So, where are we at here? Wow, lots of charts. Before we go into Tuesday's chart is brought to you by highvibe.tv, where, of course, you can get my exclusive horoscopes. I don't know if you know, but I do a daily horoscope every day that you can click on and watch it, and that's awesome. And we have a whole community on there. We can write the comments, and every day I do a daily video horoscope, and of course your weekly sun sign horoscopes, and a weekly tarot, and a weekly intuitive, and there's so many other aspects on there. So today's Tuesday chart is brought to you by highvibe.tv. Make sure that you subscribe today. Alrighty, October 1st, here we are. So, welcome to the last day of Pluto retrograde, stationary retrograde. It has stopped. It's not moving an inch. But you know what? This is a moment for you to realize that there is something coming into this reality that is going to change things. And we have to allow intimacy with what is on the right course, but not an illusionary course. Because this Pluto, it really wants to make its change, and it's wanting to do it in Capricorn, and it's about systems of control. But with the South Node there, remember, even though the South Node is past this Pluto-Saturn, thank God, and now it's starting to move towards Jupiter, which creates the kind of ideologically beliefs to get more fanatical and crazy, to be honest with you, especially when it comes into Capricorn here on December 2nd, that this is a moment where these two are finally going to go meet. Okay, so as Pluto is going to come forward, Saturn's, of course, now forward, and they're going to meet on January the 12th, okay? Right with the lunar eclipse on January the 10th. And Mercury, there's a lot going on there. So really, if you look at this, also we're finishing up Mars in Virgo, which is like, okay, we got a lot of things in life that we know we have to clean up, but there's this element of us not knowing exactly how to do it or waiting until Pluto turns on. Because yes, Saturn turned on, and Saturn is kind of like, hold on, I've been asleep, and I've had the South Node on me. I've had to find my glasses, and I'm gonna get, it's like the hermit coming out of like, what happened? I don't know, where's my glasses? Oh, I needed to, Scrooge McDuck is like, we need to get back to work, but I can't figure it all out. Wait, where's Pluto? I need him. It's funny, there's actually a Pluto Disney character with Scrooge McDuck. But where's Pluto? So think about Pluto being a little police dog. Saturn's like, I need you. You're giving me extra power to do this big job. But there's this illusion there. And I think the illusion right now for people is that everybody wants to connect and they want to have change and they want to have. Just that's it. With Uranus and Taurus, right? That's about us trying to find new ways to have a better life. But with Pluto at the last spot, stationary, oh man, it starts to become like, well, what the fuck? Especially with Mars in Virgo, ready to get out and come into Libra. It's like people get crazy. The last degrees of Mars are always intense. And with Pluto coming direct while Mars will be at 29, you'll see people will do crazy shit just to be like, I want it to look this way now. I want it to look this way now. It's like, whoa. It's going to take some time. That's what Saturn and Pluto are. So if you're trying to get some project going and it's just like, man, where's the money? Or where's this? You know, people start to get all crazy on the emails and all crazy on the phones and If you're in a relationship and it's not going the way you want to and you're like, man, I got to call her or I got to call him. And if you're not going to commit to me now, then fucking you're over. You know, this is where people start to lose it. This moon in Scorpio, holy mother. It made aspects to Pluto today as it was there. So there's this kind of deeper underlying, and Mercury and Venus now, they're moved forward. And Mercury's trying to figure out, well, what do I do here? You know, it's thinking about two sides, and oh my gosh, what should I do? And it's getting ready for that opposition to Uranus. So, you know, Tuesday wasn't the most extreme day, to be honest with you. But it is a day where there's a lot of underlying emotions starting to be like, well, I know change needs to happen, but it's like, it's not happening. It's like, well, it's about to, fast. You can feel it. So Wednesday's chart is brought to you by the W Bros. And I wanted to show you guys the collection real quick, the horoscope collection, which you can go to thewbros.com, and this is where you can get the different chains, you can get the different rings. It's super awesome, and then of course you can change all the colors and stuff too. So like you can pick that Libra, and then it's pretty cool. We're in Libra season, and you can pick it, and you can pick it with 18 gold, you know, it's pretty cool. And then you can go into rose gold as well. Check it out, the W Bros, type in LK10 for the discount code as well. All right, so Wednesday's chart, this is where Pluto comes direct, but it doesn't come direct until like 11 at night Pacific. So if you're on the East Coast, Wednesday's Pluto station, retro. And this is where I say things get crazy, because look at this, Mars, 29 degrees of Virgo. We're at a Mars 29th degree. It always gets crazy, and when it's in Virgo, it's like, I want to have this reality changed now. And there's Pluto stopped. And look at Mercury. Oh, Mercury's at 29 degrees Libra. This is not fair. This is what I need to see. I need to see it this way. Oh my God. The sun is going to be in exact aspects to Aldebaran and Antares. These are warriors. So there becomes this warrior mentality. And Mars and Virgo, like, I don't want to go into Libra. Oh my gosh, can't make a decision there and make change without, having to negotiate. Or if, you got to get pushed into it by someone. So this is Wednesday where don't freak out. And that moon in Sag starts to get all like, well, this is my belief and that's what it's got to be like. And it's an aspect with the sun and Libra. So this is a bad judge coming in. And it can be a bad judge of character in yourself or to others. Be easy on others. Be easy to yourself. Relax, because the stress is already so intense. This is stressful, Mars in Virgo at 29 degrees. This is stressful, Pluto stopped. And while Mars wants a change, and while the moon has a belief that it's almost over-believing into, especially as that moon in Chiron, right? It's kind of like, oh, okay. Like, if I experience what I want to experience. Maybe I could fix the way that my life doesn't look the way I want to right now. Well, this is where people tend to freak out and make mistakes. This is where you need to think cautiously. Because this Mercury leaving and coming into Scorpio, this is the last breath of Mercury going before it's going to dive deep into the underworld for months. Months. And you'll have to live with the decisions you make on Wednesday for months and process. So do you really want to make a hard choice on this day? Maybe. Maybe you should wait till Pluto comes direct. But you know, it's weird. I've noticed in my life, and even when I started my horoscope, my first horoscope I did daily was when Pluto went retrograde, which is opposite of this, but it was on that day that I made the choice, and it was the best choice of my life. So I can't really say don't make a choice. I'll just say that if you're going to make a choice, make sure that you're looking at the character of yourself. You're looking at your beliefs. You're looking at, are you just looking for just a radical change so fast that you haven't like really thought it all through? And are you being a good judge of all this stuff? Because Mercury still hasn't opposed Uranus yet to really kind of see the other side in Scorpio and actually get to the fixation of a feeling. Like it's almost like we have to go, it's almost like we're projecting what we want to feel without even actually, if we got there, would we like it, you know, fully, if we tasted it? And so just know that coming into this is going to be an extreme energy as Pluto comes direct, and Mercury's going to move out of Libra, and Mars is going to move out. Mercury's going to move out of Libra into Scorpio, and then Mars is going to take another couple days because Mars is at 29 for a couple days. That's when you start to make the choices. And so Thursday's chart is brought to you by Tim Losey, who is by Aphrodite, and he has an awesome October 2019 Reinventing Relationships horoscope that you can get. So all you got to do is go to highvibe.tv. And you can just always click on the content, and he's always under horoscopes, of course. And you can find his whole page on there. It's pretty easy. You just click on horoscopes, and then you can do the author, and you could do, right here, author, and then you could do Aphrodite right there, and find his horoscope in here. And if you subscribe, you get every week his video weekly health horoscopes, his daily health horoscopes, and he nails it, especially if you want to know how to aspect your life with health and astrology. He does both at the same time. So he's not just only doing health. You'll watch. He'll do the health blow your way, but he'll blow you away with consciousness. Check him out. And this is his horoscope right here, this reinventing one. It's right there, and you can get access right there as well. So I just want to promote him. He's an awesome astrologer. Worked with him a long time, and I love him. He's another double Leo, too. If you like double Leos out there, you wouldn't be watching this if you didn't. So Thursday, Pluto is now direct, and the moon is with Jupiter, and Mars is at that 29th degree, but Mercury is entered into Scorpio now. This is where we make some choices, okay? I think about how a judge works. Like when you're judging a situation, with Mercury at the 29th degree and with Mars at the 29th degree of Virgo, right? So there's this, weighing out a lot with Mercury in your head, and there's this Mars just wanting to see the reality shift. And it's like, before you weigh something out, you want to weigh it out. And then when Mercury comes into Scorpio, that's where your gut starts to connect with your head. Like, you know what? Yeah. It's like that last decision, if you're at a car dealer, do I go leather or do I go cloth? Like, and then there's that moment. And like, it's kind of like Mercury comes, you listen to your gut and say your head. You're like, you know what? I'm going with my gut. Bam. And with the moon on Jupiter, of course, it's going to be square to Neptune, but we're going to see a post part of that, which I think is positive. That this is going to be connecting with the sun, remember, the moon, and that's going to be the day before, but we have the moon and Venus that are going to connect. It's going to be a lot easier for us to make decisions, and even though Mars is at 29, I will say that it is easier to make choices and big decisions about the reality you want here, because we can come from a better place. And now Pluto is direct, so it's like, yeah, let's make those choices and let's go. Now there's at least some sense of understanding fully. And you're in a much better zone. They always say, like, man, some of the dumbest mistakes in life can be made right before a planet turns direct, right? So I will say this, since Mercury is now going to be in Scorpio for a long time, you're going to want to take that breath on Wednesday and look at the beauty and look at things, because Mercury is going into the underworld. And when Mercury goes deep into the underworld, it's a detective, but it also pulls up a lot. It doesn't stay up there with the sunrise or the sunset anymore and all the beautiful clouds. And it's not about, having these, this goes into deep, deep stuff, and it makes the environment feel darker. Mercury rules the environment of what we look at and how we see our reality. But it also can be the ultimate transformational of light. But I'm going to just be honest with you. This is going to set some really intense tonage into a vibrational shift of a darker, lower, kind of internalized, deeper vibration. Not saying that's bad, but it's much more root. Pluto is a root chakra. Mercury coming into Scorpio is very root-ish, and putting our mind there, and the environment's going to get very rooty. And here's the moon it's going to be okay with Jupiter and Sag, but, and the sun in Libra, but even they know it's like this party's about to become a Scorpio Capricorn party soon. And even Jupiter knows I'm about to join that party too. I mean, it's going to be a Capricorn party. And there's not a lot of, partying in Capricorn parties. Sorry to say, it's like, it's like, don't sit on that couch. We've got, a cover on it. Remember, the North Node in Cancer is what to focus on right now. What is Cancer? It's your home. It's family. I mean, it's where you kick your shoes off and put your foot on the table and you don't worry about it. It's where you sit on the couch and rip a fart. Nobody cares. Capricorn, holy fuck, they care. Now they're judging your character of identity, and should we work with this person? Should we even have them around? Is he hitting a vape on the couch? I don't know. I don't think we should have him around. That's what the devil is, believe it or not. I know not all Capricorns are not devils just because the devil is ruled by Saturn, and especially in Capricorn. But what is the devil? It is demonizing others. Think about that one. Because Cancer, where the moon is, the mother, you never demonize your child. When you have a baby, the last thing you do, that baby is defenseless. It has to survive off the mother. Like, there is no other way. The first 9 months, it's like, it can't even like change its own energy. It can't even wipe its own butt. It can't do nothing. So Kronos ate his own children. And this is where we need to focus on this, like, put down the shades that you are projecting or the presentation. I mean, it's a lot like dating, right? Like, especially because we're in a lot of Libra. So this, and I got to be honest, with this Venus here in Libra, in good aspects, because it's not really making any bad aspects. Sure, it's going to make some, actually, it's in really good aspects. It's kind of alone. It's actually not touching anything, really. But, with this Venus aspect with relationships, it's kind of like, why put on this whole show, right? Like you're just wanting to get to the real inside of whoever it is that you're connecting with in life. Like, who are you? And just what are you? And yeah, just whatever. Be you. Like, let me feel you. I want to see what you're like. Get comfortable. Like, don't, Hi, I'm David. I'm an astrologer for a living, and let me put on the show. It's like, you really think you're going to find connection through that place? Look in your whole life when you start to get all, this is going to be gnarly. Thursday's gnarly. And Thursday's a test of whether you passed or not. I think that the portal really is Wednesday in the big test. You might not hear that anywhere else. Of how people react in life, who's really in alignment with you, just stuff like, can people be nurturing and caring, and can you be nurturing and caring back? And we're all just trying to get through this, and we all can get through this. It's the illusion that it's all collapsing, so we got to save it. It's the illusion that the Titanic has hit this huge thing. Whether you're in some love relationship, you're like, the Titanic's hit. Maybe it already hit many times before, and you're just like, I've talked about how that time already passed, so you're just trying to save yourself at this point. But when it comes to new stuff, or even existing stuff, like, what works. You know what's in alignment with you. You know what's in alignment with that truth and that comfort and that positivity, and But I think that people think they know so much. But with Mercury going to oppose Uranus, we really don't know. The investigator's about to get, blasted with some truth in another direction. So on October 4th, Friday, which this chart's brought to you by, and I don't even think she knew I was going to promote her, but I saw that Tamara just put up an awesome October report for all of her stuff. And her stuff's under, you could get her under inspiration, she's under intuitive, but we also have a paid videos section. And she just put out an October activation 2019, assimilating, integrating, and aligning with the energies that will be shifting the physical reality. So check out Tamara, she's awesome, I love her so much, and all of her content, she has so much content every day. She has so much daily impact. She has weekly angel tarot readings. She has so much on there. Check it out. Be a subscriber to High Vibe to check out Tamara. So this chart's brought to you by her and her show. So Friday is Mars in Libra. And technically, Mars comes into Libra really late on the 3rd. That's why I'm saying it's such an extreme day, really, that 3rd. But here we are. Now we got Mars in Libra. So a lot of changes. And right away, the moon's in Capricorn now. So it's going to square this Mars. Then it's going to come and occult all this energy with Pluto direct, Saturn direct, and the South Node, and be squaring the Sun. So just be prepared, like this week, especially even with the Sun starting to square Saturn, like, gosh, I know there's a lot that we want to connect with. There's going to be some blocks, though. There's going to be some hesitation. There's going to be some frustration. And this is where we have to learn to let go of frustration. Because Saturn is still opposing that North Node. Even though they're coming off, right? They're coming off that. The moon's going to really feel that. The moon's not going to be where it would like to be in Cancer. It's going to be on the South Node and this illusionary place where our emotions can get too tough and very judgmental. And Mars in Libra. Mars in Libra is not horrible. I mean, it is detriment, so it's not his favorite place at all. Sometimes we get pushed into things, but it's like, people become hesitant with Mars in Libra. So that's what I'm saying, the choice is great on October 3rd, and then on the 4th, it's kind of like now we're entering into, are you sure? And then the pressure starts to build, and if you're making decisions off frustrations and stuff, like, are you coming from a compassionate place first? Are you understanding of the other person? Because we're dealing with relationships. And this is where the Mercury and Scorpio comes in, right? Where it's got this intuition, but it's opposing Uranus, and it's about to be shocked with the empathy of connecting to somebody on their values, that we're not all on the same tier of values, we're not all on the same tier of experiences and how we feel, right? Like, I don't know if you have a pain right now in your leg. You don't know where I have pains right now. You don't know I don't know what your thoughts are in the morning. You don't know where my thoughts are in bed in the morning. We all are going through weird shit. So this is like time for empathy, because Neptune, even though it's really kind of not really making the big aspected stuff yet, I mean, sure, it's got that South or the Saturn sextile, it's retrograding, and now it's just this Neptune Uranus kind of chilling out there in the void of the universe. reminding us to connect to people and understanding we all have different values. Uranus in Taurus to me is kind of like the 5 of Wands in Taurus. Like we all have our own thing, and how do we all bring it together? And Neptune in Pisces right now at 16 is a very mercurial energy in this space, believe it or not. And it's like we can get lost in our heads and we can project our minds in these crazy places. And with Saturn there, be a tyrant. Like Saturn's trying to control Neptune. It's like, let me use the Pope to put out this message. Hey, Pope, you do this for me? With Pluto there now direct, it's like, hey, Pope, you want to make some more money? You want some more gold? I can get you some gold, but you're going to have to do me a favor. Especially with the moon coming into Capricorn. And so this weekend is really, pressure. It's a lot of pressure. And so when we come into Saturday, the pressure gets more intense. The sun will be at 12 degrees. He'll be squaring the moon exactly at 12, right on the nodes. And this moon's not happy, the sun's not happy, and it's all an aspect to the nodes with Saturn and Pluto. So if things aren't going the way exactly that you want to, hallelujah. Welcome to planet Earth. Mars opposite Chiron. And these two aren't happy. Chiron doesn't want to be in Aries. Mars doesn't want to be in Libra. This isn't, this is where we have to really, we're really being tested a lot. And I think that, look at this Mercury at 3, now it's opposing to Uranus. And it's getting all these crazy random turn of events and changing our reality and stuff. And as the sun is building up to its square to the nodes and to Saturn throughout Sunday into Monday. And Mars opposing Chiron. So this is going to be a time where, we're going to all have to deal with our frustrations. Sure, Capricorn says we need to make some sort of change in our way that we go about things, but we have to do it in a Cancerian way. What's comfortable for everybody, what's comfortable for yourself, what relationships are really going to show up, and that you feel like that long-term life and that long-term belief and those long-term energies really make sense. They fit in your life. Or what doesn't. And this is where people can use this frustration to kind of like this weekend almost escape. Like, I don't want to fucking deal with all this. Or, this is where the tyrant can come out. This is where the Tyrannosaurus Rex can really come out, with Mars being wounded in opposition and in Libra and feeling like it's like, I don't know what to do, and and the Capricorn's demanding that I do some sort of choice. And I think that we need to remember that Venus is still in Libra, and thank God it is, trying to hold some sort of line of peace and prosperity for us to focus on that, because Venus does not like coming into Scorpio. Venus goes through a very weird transit. Of all the planets, Venus is at fall in Virgo, and then it's at detriment, in Scorpio, and it's at dignity in Libra. So Venus goes from the shittiest place to the best place to the second shittiest place. So it basically goes to like homeless underneath a freaking, a bridge, to a mansion with everything handled, to a hostel. So while Venus is in the mansion of beauty, through all this shit and all this pressure, and if things just that you're pushing for are not going, drop it. Just drop it and see what happens. Because this is where strain comes in. Because this Capricorn energy's on, and Pluto's like, you've got to do it. And Saturn's like, yeah, I'll listen to him. Like, well, I mean, he's got power. Like, I got him here. So, and the South Node's making the illusion of that it has to happen. It has to happen. But this is where people are going to be pushing so hard for things. And it's just like going to be like, find the peace. Chill out. And if we're going to talk about the 70s with Chiron, and why do you think Chiron, every time it comes into Aries, brings about this whole like, chill out, bro? Right? Like the 70s brought out, the beginning of the 70s, the end of the 60s, like with Chiron and Aries, like chill out, dude. because it just started to become so intense. And this is triply as intense. So it's like truly in Libra, with Mars in Libra, it's chill out. Somehow it'll get done. And that's why Mars doesn't like being there, because Mars is like, really? We're going to get this done how? And Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn are like, what the fuck? This is how we're going to get it done? Is by saying chill the fuck out? Yeah. Sometimes when you chill out, what happens? Everybody starts to come to a better energy. And then eventually you go, yeah, you ready to go do that? Let's go do that. And then you go. But this Capricorn time thing, because now with Pluto on, time becomes more extreme when it's an illusion. It's like, damn, we got to get it done by now. Or I got to go get this in my life choice done. It starts projecting fear on yourself of like, gosh, if I don't do this by this time, I'm fucked. If you're in a comfortable place, and this is why I think with Mercury and Scorpio in opposition to Uranus, this is where we have to talk to friends. We need to find friends. We need to find people that are on our level. We need to find energies that are chilled back in our vibe, and that we can create, because being a creative energy, especially Libra is very creative with art and beauty, especially with Venus there. That you don't force Leonardo da Vinci to do the Last Supper painting or the Mona Lisa and say, I need it done in like a day. It's like this quality of Libra is like needing to find its right rhythm and balance right now, and Capricorn's demanding a lot on it. And if you're demanding off people, or you're demanding people to make choices on people, like, you know, like let's say in a relationship, it's like, I was watching Pablo Francisco the other night. He's my favorite stand-up, and he always does this thing, and he makes fun of like how when guys go to Hooters, their wives freak out. He's like, are you going to Hooters? And he's like, yeah. I don't want to get there, but you know, it's like, there becomes this like, you know, do you want to be with the Hooters girl or me? And it's like, I'm just going to Hooters to get some wings, you know? Like, I'm not going to fuck the girl at Hooters, you know? Like this is where people start demanding off people so hard. And I think that if you're not doing that if that's not happening to you, then you're demanding on yourself that you feel like I have to do this, where it's like, you cannot make any change right now without comfort. And so we have to be easy on ourselves, because this can create health hazards. With Mars opposed Chiron in our head, it could cause stress, it could cause strokes, it could cause so many crazy things. And with Capricorn, you know, it could create so much strain of lack of nutrients, you know, that you could just become feeling that you're energetically empty and depressed, because the sun is going to start squaring the moon on top of Saturn, and the sun squares Saturn. So as we come into Sunday, it's getting more extreme. I mean, this whole week just continue, and that's typical Pluto starting to build up, right? So now we've got the moon that's occulted and came over all this stuff here in Capricorn. And now the sun is exactly square the nodes. So it kind of feels like this destiny point. We are also halfway between the eclipses now, right? Because we had the eclipses here in Cancer, and the next ones are coming in Capricorn again. So we're halfway point. And the sun's squaring Saturn at this halfway point. It's kind of like, sure, I got to get shit together. Let's make some plans in our head. But like, man, it's going to be an uphill battle. It's not going to be with the sun in Libra, right? It's at its fall, and with Mars at its detriment, but Venus in dignity, you know, Venus is leading the way, being like, hey, like, we get things done over here in a beautiful way. Don't come up and fuck up my mansion, sun in Libra, that like, you're at fall, like, you're the weakest here. So put your ego and your way of how you think it should look out of it. And Mars, you're in your detriment. Like, don't come here and fucking start bringing all the warriors into this house. This is a beautiful house. Like, this is beautiful. Like, it's got beautiful clothes around. And there's beautiful couches and there's good food. Like, don't come in here with your muddy feet and start muddying this shit all up. You know? And this is the day that Mercury opposes Uranus. Unpredictable things are going to happen in the middle of the Sun square Saturn. And you could even see that on Monday. Sun square Saturn. 14, Mercury opposed Uranus. But you're going to see that buildup, and you're going to see that buildup of the Sun and Saturn on to Sunday night. So, you know, with Mars in opposition to Chiron, with Venus exiting Libra and getting ready to oppose Uranus. And more importantly, you know, when you take a look at all this, this moon in Aquarius is going to be trine Mars. So people can go, I'm going to do this crazy thing. I'm ready to go. And it's going to trine the sun. Like, I'm going to do this. And it's like, there's this Sun square Saturn thing. It's like, we really have to watch how to be good people now. And we have to watch how to be good to ourselves. And we have to watch how to see a bigger picture. And we have to watch and be easy on ourselves, that this is not a time to push hard. We have to slow it down hard, because this is where, you know, as a DJ, I bring it down to like 80, 89 BPM, you know? This is where you play the chill music. This is not where you try and rock and roll this motherfucker through. This is not where you try and push your poop out and have a hernia. This is not where you try and, you know, demand somebody be in your life. This is not where you try and, you know, force things. It will go bad. And especially there's so much unpredictability with Uranus opposed Mercury in Scorpio that it's like, where does this all go? I don't know. What is all this information? Or people might do things that you are not ready for, especially with the moon in Aquarius, so it's activating Uranus. Because remember, the North Node is in Cancer. So the North Node in Cancer, every time the lunation, the moon, comes into a sign, through this week, it's going to go through Sag, Capricorn, and Aquarius. And we got a lot going on with those three signs and the planets they rule. Like, it's insane. So I think the beginning of this week, it can look kind of positive and good, but then at the end of this week, it could go into some tyranny. It could go into some really edgy shit, and then it can go into some wild rebellion shit with Sun square Saturn. And if something bad or negative happens to you, you're just going to have to learn to accept it and be like, I guess that's not part of my path then. Like, and not get pissed about it, or not get pissed on others, or not project on others, and just be like, okay, that's where it is. And be open to, you know, still holding your ground, I think, on what you deserve, but just realize people are going to be unconsciously thwarted, like turned into weird energies and weird people and weird situations if they're not aware. And you almost got to put a little bit of a protective energy on this week. Like, you need to call your angels, you need to call God, you need to call your guides and put a protective energy around you, because people are going to be acting crazy. People are going to be trying to push things. People are going to not be in themselves. This is where exorcism comes in. This is where dark entities with Pluto turn on, slide in subtly, and with the moon slide in there, and with this Libra, I mean, this really is the movie The Exorcist that is coming in this week. And it's like, why is the green pea soup being fucking chucked all over my face right now by this person? Whoa. Or you're the one that has been taken over, and you are projecting all that green pea soup on someone. And because relationships are a big deal, and this is the end of Venus and Libra, like, I mean, in that movie, it was kind of funny because my mom can't hear the Allman Brothers, Lord, I Was Born a Rambling Man, because that's what's playing in the bar when the priest goes to the bar to drink. That's how he's dealing with it. It's so gnarly. It's a very kind of Libra, Sun square Saturn story and how they deal with it. If they are just aware that it's going to be okay, just chill out and find the peace and it'll all get done. And Saturn is a slow mover anyway, so it's like this, and my guides want me to let you all know this. And a lot of people know this, maybe they've heard this term, but the whole term hurry up and wait. Like no matter how much you try to hurry up to change something, there's going to be a delay. So in the military, we always laughed because it's like they tell you like, you must have the paperwork done, you must have your orders set here, you must go to this area, you must go see the yeoman here, you must go see the master at arms, you must go see this, and you get there and then you're in a line and then you sit and wait and they say, okay, the officer will be with you soon. It's just like going to the doctor, right? Like, okay, the appointment's at 6, and then you get there at 6, and then you're sitting there, it's like 7:30, and you're like, I don't see anybody walking out of there. Like the person's there, the office assistant's just on her phone, sexting. Like, and you're like, what the fuck? So this is not a time to push things too hard, because we're gonna see on the other side of this. Especially when the full moon comes into Aries, square Pluto, that's going to be an activation time. And when Mars comes off this Chiron and with Mercury coming off Uranus, at least with Mercury retrograde, it won't come over Uranus anymore. But we are going to be thwarted. We are going to be sent some weird energies. And that's foreign energies of alien energy. That's foreign energies of dark energy that have their way of coming in this week. Pluto's going to slip through with Saturn. Uranus is going to try and slip into Mercury in a weird way. And this is going to be a time for us to recognize that and not realize that it is people themselves that have become bad tyrants or bad people, but that they have just been taken over unconsciously by unconscious and dark forces that you're going to have to be prepared for to be around you and hold the light. Because from this point on, deep astrology is about how to hold the light. I'm not here anymore with Saturn and Pluto now direct and the time we're at. I didn't come all the way down here in this life to just talk about the mundane. I'm here to talk about those that are here to change the planet and the world by just holding light through these situations, which are in your environment. It's always just what's in your environment. And what's interesting is that little boob tube or even that news article that pops up on your phone, like that stuff is trying to pull you out of your own environment and put you on that train that's going to take you into a concentration camp that you don't even realize. And I know that's a triggering visualization, but it's true, and you know it. Because then you have nothing in your environment anymore. It's all about that and that train and where that's going, and that's the way to change the world. It's not even anything you like. You don't even know them. You don't even know what they're doing. You don't even know anything about that. You don't even know if it's real. The scariest part about life and what I love about, the book 1984, or I love THX 1138, or I love The Matrix. There's no coincidence Matrix 4 is coming out. What I love about these movies is they make you realize, like, is it really that real? Sure. But as you know, like, as we were doing this show, Craig gets behind the camera and moves to another and changes it. We can project this to look however it is. If I were to blow this all the way up and show you, like, this is just some wood and that my brother and Craig and I just put together. I mean, I did a little. I'm not no champion with wood, but we did it together. And, it's just a piece of wood standing up, but it can look like this beautiful and imagery and Neptunian beautiful thing. But really, these guys are on boxes that are like UPS boxes, and, like, the projection right now is so good that it's trying to suck you into this demanding story. And I think that this is a time right now for all of us to chill the fuck out. And it will all come together. And we need to focus on family. We need to focus on emotion. We need to focus on filling ourselves up and filling each other up. Being there for each other. Like, what are you going through? I got you. Being easy on everybody. Like, dude, I got you. Hey, girl, I got you. Hey, mom, I got you. Hey, dad, I got you. Hey, I got you. I understand. It's all right you didn't call me back. It's all right whatever didn't happen. It's okay. That's like that's what's going to hold this whole place together right now. Because everybody else is freaking out. Pluto, when it comes online, you watch. The freak out by the end of this week is going to go crazy. And with Mercury and Uranus in opposition, that one's a weird one in Scorpio and Taurus. That one is definitely going to try and take you to a better place while having to uncover some truth that you're not going to want to see, which is like the uncovering of truth that a demon has taken over your daughter and it is throwing up green pea soup. That is very Uranus, Taurus, opposed Mercury and Scorpio. And if we were to look back in the 1930s when Mercury could have opposed Uranus and Taurus, that would have been like some great revealing of, a time in where, wow, yeah, like this is really how people are and this is how really things are going and this is not the way I really wanted it to look. Oh. And there's a part about acceptance because, if I think about the horrible times of the 1930s, we only see, of course, the main moments. But what we don't see is how families bonded together, friends bonded together. And it reminds me, if you watch Saving Private Ryan, even though that movie, there's a lot of war scenes and they're going to save this brother because his 3 other brothers died and they all don't want to do it because they're all like, fuck this guy. Like, well, I want to go home. I want to go home. And then they finally meet him and then they understand that if they had 3 older brothers that they lost, that what would that do to their mom? And when they get that and he joins and he's not a little, he doesn't even want to go either. He doesn't even want to go. But they understand that they all got to get him back and they get him back and they all risk their lives. But there's this part of brotherhood, of bondage, of connection, of, fuck, shit happens and we all got to work together. But it's the camaraderie. It's the connection emotionally that we all need to focus on right now because we're all getting lost into this fucking crazy world right now that is not giving you shit back at all. And how much longer do you want to keep buying into that drug? It's like every day I give my money and then I come into this world and this is the way that I want it to look and then control and then I eat it and then it's like, oh, there's nothing in it. And it's draining. When the only thing right now that is fulfilling is fulfillment of emotion. Care, like I got your back no matter what. Of course, Libra wants to judge that in the square to the nodes this week, and the moon in Capricorn wants to square that too to the sun. And make sure you're a judge. Don't forget about the rules of life and the rules of this and time and and the past with South Node there. And it's like, let's try and find that connection, that love, that true harmony again, because this is not going to be a time of harmony unless we just focus on the fulfillment of the emotion. Thank you so much for being part of Deep Astrology. I hope that this helps you this week. I know it's a lot to take in. Please share this video, get it out to people as much as you can, and please help us out and join highvibe.tv. We got so much on there, my daily videos. I'm coming out with a video this week about the pre-2020 survival video, I guess you could call it, about how to get through this next 3 months until January 10th and 11th. And it's going to cover all bases, not just relationships, even though that's a huge part. And I'll end with this. Now that Pluto's direct and Saturn's direct, that means that the Pluto-Saturn cycle of 1982 and 83 is officially at its final chapter. So relationships will become the most extreme situations. And relationships are going to be the one thing we can emotionally hold on to get us through a collapsing, crazy world. And that connection and that emotion and that love. And you have to know that it's truly there, and you have to allow other people that you might want. You can't project anything. You got to just accept where people are going to choose over this next 3 months, because this is where people will battle over others and people will fight for whatever it is. And it's like, this is just where you have to learn acceptance, and you have to learn, like, this is my raw truth, and you have to know that there is some sort of connection somewhere out there for you, and stop believing that there's not. Or, you know, even if you're in a partnership, like, you know, you're gonna have to face the music with that one too. And this is what I've been talking about for years. And welcome to the week where the domino flicks. I love you all. After Dark's next.